Howdy, howdy. It's the 100th show. Holy cow. 100th show. I cannot believe it's been 100 live streams so far. Since I launched my channel, I can't believe time is flying. How you all doing tonight? It is about 25 degrees warmer than it normally is up here in Massachusetts, on the South Coast. Almost 80 degrees. That's hot. That's hot. I am super excited though tonight because we got a fun show. We're gonna cover some housing market news, but I got some trivia, some prizes, and I got a guest just to make it all that much sweeter. So it's gonna be a fun show. I'm super glad you guys are all here and watching. If you're watching on the replay, hello, thanks for being here as well. I am so ramped up, getting ready for this show. I had so many ideas, so many things I want to do for you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. But like I said, I'm excited because I haven't had a guest on my show quite some time. And I was thinking a lot about this leading up to this this special moment. And really, truly, there is only one person that I can think of. And, if you know who she is, you probably could guess by now. This is one of my very, very, very dear friends, fellow YouTuber extraordinaire, champion of home buyers, and just an all-around great person. I want to welcome my friend, your friend, Miss Jackie Baker. What's happening?
What's
Jackie,
up?
Jersey Jackie in the house.
What is going on, my friend? It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've done this. So I'm so excited and congratulations. It's your 100th live stream. I love it.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's crazy and I'm excited. And here's to 100 more.
Yes, ma'am.
Here's to 100 more. So
yes.
I'm super glad that you can make time because I know things are popping in Jersey these days and market's not. We're going to talk about that, right?
Yep.
Yes, and all the things.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks again for having me. I miss doing these streams with you, girl.
I know, man. We gotta make some changes or something.
Yeah.
Because you always it's fun and you always bring a different aspect, a different viewpoint on things, So but we got a lot to do tonight, Jackie. We got a lot to cover. I got an article as I normally do, but we're not going to that's just the tip of the iceberg for tonight. And, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So, but first, let's just see who's, I'm going to look in the romper room. What do you call that? The romper room mirror.
A mirror.
I see all of our friends. I see this person. I see that person.
I see familiar faces in here, familiar names, I should say.
Let's see. We've got, it's me, Paul T. I'm just here for the food. Dude, where's my food? That's where I want to know.
Yeah.
We got Sarah Ball in the house. Good to see you. We got Kimberly. Congratulations on the 100 show. Thank you so much.
Kimberly, what's going on? I know
love
Kimberly.
Expertise on the show is Bryce. You're filling my cup. Oh, hold on a second. We got a little, let's just fix that on the fly. There we go. Can't be having a cutoff comment. We got Debbie in the house from Peabody, Massachusetts. Let's go, Mass.
Nice.
MHOA, cold in Denver, 55. Well, you know what? You guys take up in the mountains takes a while for you guys to catch up to the weather and all the things, right? SMVB, happy 100th. MHOA's Christmas show was the best. Well, we'll see what happens. You know what? I'll get your feedback after this show. We got my West Coast friend Angie in the house. I'm so glad you're here for the 100th. Do we have appetizers and drinks? Man, Jackie, that's what we should have done.
We should have done that.
We should have had some adult beverages would be the end of me because I'm such a lightweight these days. You know what I mean?
That could be dangerous. So I'll stick with my water. I'm good.
I'm so edgy drinking my green tea. with honey.
I don't know how you're doing that. I'd be up all night. Good for you. Good for you.
It helps with the
All
dry
right.
throat.
Yeah.
Who else we got? It says, let's see, teams meet at Brady Bunch. Any longer, Jen might be the special guest. Oh, jeez. Marta says, my first live stream. Hello from St. Louis. I'm so glad you're here. So glad
Oh,
you're
that's
here.
awesome.
Let's see. We got Jill in the house. Good to see you. We got Mr. Clark, the realtor, our friend
Hey, Clark.
down in Atlanta. Good to see you,
Yep.
my friend. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes, another real estate channel personality. Well, Jackie, I'd say you'd have some personality.
A little bit.
You got to check out, if you have not checked out Jackie's channel, killer content, all
Oh, I
about
appreciate
advocating
that.
for yourself as a buyer, getting out there and
Yep.
in this day and age, you need to advocate as much as you can for yourself.
Yes.
We've got skates in the house and all the
Good
things.
memory. Yeah.
I mean, just like when Johnny Carson got wasted on
Wasted on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that will not
You know.
be. No, Jackie, you know me. I'm
Yeah, I
too
know.
like.
We don't want that, MH. Sorry.
No, and my anxiety is too high to like go there, like get crazy, like get crazy. It's like I don't want to
Yep.
say something to offend someone.
God forbid.
Oh my goodness. Well, Jackie, we're gonna first things first, as we always have some housekeeping stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tonight's no different. So, in that regard, so we've got the huge, got the huge. Post your wins, of course. If you guys have questions, and please lay them on us. I mean, Jackie's in the house. You want to ask those questions, make sure you put QQQ so I do not miss them in the chat. So lay on the questions. Guys, there's no poll tonight. Sorry, but we have trivia. We have trivia and prizes.
It's even better. In the end, prizes.
I think it's better. I was actually going to ask in the poll, Jackie, topics that you folks would want me to talk about in future live streams. If there's anything that you're like chomping at the bit for me to talk about that I haven't, you know what? I'm pop it in the chat. Let me know. But I was going to put it in the poll, Jackie, and it's like, how do I put that in a ABCD selection? So I gave up. Ran out of time, to be honest.
Fine. You do a good job picking your content anyway, your topics. So
Well, I appreciate that.
But you do.
I will give you $50 for saying that after the show.
Okay, and you're right. You know where I live. Mail it.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Housing market update. We're going to touch on the housing market. As always, it's a housing market show. But we got questions from channel comments. So I have a couple questions that came in last week and I think the week before that I thought would be good conversation to get Jackie's take on and all the things. And then we've got some trivia and some prizes. The trivia tonight, guys, is going to be focused not around housing. But for those of you, and you know who you are, that come every Tuesday night, I appreciate you so much. This trivia is going to be for you guys. So it'll make sense once we get the ball rolling. But I really just, I want to, I just really appreciate, I just can't. Jackie, I know you feel the same way.
Oh, I feel the same way.
With your crew.
I do mine on Mondays. I look forward to Mondays because of that stream. I really do. And there's a couple of people in here that come on my stream on Mondays, and I just, oh my gosh, it's so fulfilling. Like I said, it fills my cup. I love seeing the same people, and we have a great time. Who would have thought a real estate live stream? And it's like, we're all getting together to hang out once a week.
And seriously, real estate's boring. Real estate can be really boring.
Oh, it is boring.
It is boring. So the fact that, you guys show up and it for Jackie and I, Jackie, you feel the same way. Nothing is more fulfilling when we get the feedback that we've helped you guys, that we've said something to, alleviate a piece of stress or answer a question that's been bugging you or shed some light on something that you were really struggling with. Truly, truly. And listen, Jack, you and I talk about this all the time. I'm full blown menopause. Like my filter's disappearing by the day. Like
Same, same.
I just tell it the way it is. And when I'm telling you that it fills my cup, like that's no BS. Like truly, when I'm like struggling with the day, right? It's like, both of us are like, oh, this viewer said, sent me this message or whatever, and it just melts all the garbage away.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best.
It's
Yeah, it like wipes away all the negative crap that we get from people, It
Yep.
just it's awesome.
Or
It's
just
awesome.
in general these days. So much
Mhm.
negativity, but we don't, you know what? That's a choice, and we're not going to subscribe to it. So,
Right.
you want to talk about some housing market stuff, Jackie?
Yes, please.
So dig
Let's.
dig right in. So this came out of Fast Company, and
Yep.
I just want to do a little market update for you guys. This came out what was the 11th, Saturday. Um, I was in New York City on Saturday.
That's right.
I can't believe it seems like a
That's right.
month.
You were nearby me. You
I
were like,
was so close to you.
no,
I'll tell you, that was
no.
crazy. I live down in the burbs, and the New York City's crazy, but totally worth it. Saw
Yeah, yeah.
Hades
It's
Town on
fun.
Broadway. Highly
I have
recommend.
to see that.
Oh man, it was so good. But anywho, um, 20 major housing markets with enough inventory to create home buyer deals later this year. This is in your wheelhouse, Jackie, and I am super interested to hear what you have to contribute to this. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to read this entire. I'm going to post these articles as I always do, guys, in the description, so you can go through this at your leisure. This is generally speaking housing markets where inventory has returned to pre-pandemic levels have experienced weaker home price growth over the last 46 months. However, conversely, housing markets with inventory remains far below pre-pandemic 2019 levels, generally speaking, experience more resilient home price growth over the last 46 months. Up here in the Northeast, I mean, it's, the Massachusetts market is not, the Jersey market is standing out, right? Like a sore
Mhm.
thumb. But
Mhm.
just from where I'm at, Massachusetts, and Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Maine, the whole Northeast corridor, we're still well on below in our inventory. The inventory,
Yeah.
our inventory levels are far below, and I'm just going to scroll right down to the meat
Oh,
of
I love
the
this
article.
map.
Yeah, I do too. You know what I love about it is the fact that Resi Club puts this together, and it's all uh, interactive, right? So that the um, because it's interactive, you can highlight over your particular area. So you can go down to
Yep.
well, Barnstable, Boston. I'm like right in this area here, so closer to the Cape, but you can still see that 2019 levels, negative 68.3
Wow.
percent. But if we look at where you,
Come on over to
what's
Jersey.
what is sticking out on this map, Miss Jackie Baker? This big
Gee, that
round
big brown
brown
flipping circle oh my gosh. Yeah, but
inventory.
they combine Newark, Jersey City. It's so annoying that they incorporate like New York in there because it's really the state as a whole. Yeah, New York. Here's the thing: the New Yorkers are moving to Jersey, so that's why I'm like, why are they? Why are we incorporating New York in that number? Because they're all leaving New York to come to us,
Do you
and
do you think? Sorry for interrupting you. Do you think that that has anything to do with the Netflix studio that they're building down there, or do
I
you think it's
no, I
completely
think
unrelated?
it's unrelated to that. I think it's because it all goes back to why it started in the pandemic. People wanted out of the city, and they can spend, 1.5 $2 million on a nice house with a big yard in Jersey versus an apartment in New York City.
True.
So, and that's the draw. And so here's an example. Now this is further south for me, but this is in Essex County. So Montclair, New Jersey is very, very popular among the New York City people because it's got a really vibrant downtown, diverse, all the things. It's a really cool town. A home sold about a month or two ago for, you ready? 500,000 over asking price.
Say again.
500,000 over asking. But wait, it gets better. There's a neighboring town called Glen Ridge.
Really?
Yeah. Really? Yes. There's a neighboring town to Montclair called Glen Ridge, which is a very affluent town. A house sold there for $1 million over list price, and it was cash. So
Why? That's bonkers.
becau because
Bonkers.
we don't have enough houses and the people want to be here. So, like, can I just give you a couple more examples? I don't wanna, like, dominate here, but I wanna tell
No,
you
no,
what
no, go right ahead.
so just in the past week, right, I have buyer clients I'm helping right now. This one couple I'm helping, young family in this town in Bergen County, very desirable town, and the house needed work, right? It was, original dating back to like 1960s, 1970s, but the property and the neighborhood was like stellar. It was perfect, right? So we went in, we put an offer in about, I'm going to say 50,000. Yeah, we went in like 50,000 over ask. Okay. So by the time we submitted our offer, we were the fourth offer in. They'd already had 3 offers. And it was in a state. So they had to wait a couple of days to talk to all the family members before making a decision. So Saturday morning, I finally get that call from the listing agent. I'm like, oh, did you make a decision? He goes, so we had 12 offers, and the highest offer was 125,000 over list. Okay. Thank
It's
you
like
very
stepping
much.
into a time machine. It's literally like stepping back into the pandemic.
It is. And then the second house that I showed this weekend, my clients said, we loved this house. It was fabulous. But it was one of those situations, Jen, they purposely underpriced a house because the scenario is they bought the house at a certain price 3 years ago. And what did they do? They listed it about 200,000 under what they paid. Guess
Wow.
where their house now no, it was 100. They listed it. It was what? Okay, they bought it at 1.9. It was listed at 1.8. When I called the listing agent, I just had a sneaky suspicion. I said, "Where are we at with this right now? Because I know you have offers on the table. I don't want to waste my client's time.
Yep.
I know you can't reveal it, but you could reveal the exact number." I said, "But does this offer have a 2 in front of it?" He goes, "Yep." It was already at 2 million. It was already 200,000 over asking. And they hadn't received all offers yet.
That's
So
crazy.
it's insane. It's insane. And I'm frustrated for my buyers because when they're making these offers, Jen, and they have to go over list, the thing that sellers are doing, and they've done this whole time, they have their the requirements of what the sellers are looking for in the offer. And when you're offering over list price, the sellers want to see your proof of funds that you can cover the appraisal gap should the house not appraise. Like this is what it's come to.
Yep.
And my client was like, "Well, I have to show bank accounts for that." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "This isn't new. I've seen this before. But when you get into these higher price homes, this is, unless you're cash, this is what they want to see." So the pandemic has not left the pandemic market has not left New Jersey. And we did a little bit of a lull a couple months ago. I got a couple of buyers in before the spring market boom, and we got them a good price. They didn't have to go way over list. This past week, I'm like, what? Why are we back here again? We were just here. It's like we never left. So New Jersey isn't saying there's no inventory. The demand is still ridiculously high, and it's because New York City. It's New York City that's moving in, and they want to be down by the Jersey Shore. But to answer your question about Netflix, now that studio is not opening until 2028. That's going to bring about 1,500 jobs. There's already a lot of building going on down in Monmouth County, and the towns down there are not overly thrilled with it because they're building these huge luxury apartment complexes. This is a new thing too. All of these luxury apartments are being built all over the state, and they're charging astronomical rents. But you know what? They're going to get it. Everyone's asking, like, 2,000 for a 1-bedroom, or 3,000 or 5,000 for a 2-bedroom. They're going to get it. They're going to get
That's
it.
crazy.
They don't care. It's insane.
Crazy.
So
That's
that's
crazy.
my
It's
story,
crazy.
and I'm sticking to it. But the rest of the market now I have my property in Delaware. I can't give this house away. So
It's
it's totally different.
that
So
studio for those that are curious. They're calling it the Hollywood of the East,
Yep.
right? They just broke ground. Well, this was well, not they didn't just break ground. This actually is article May 13th, but they recently I remember seeing actually I probably should have pulled up an article that was closer, more recent because I saw in the news pictures because it was an old oh yeah Army installation, right?
Yes. Yep.
292 acres,
Yep. Fort Mine.
and
Yep.
it's leveled. It's completely leveled right now, but
Oh,
they're calling it right Hollywood of the East, which is great. My
Halloween. Yeah.
younger daughter is studying. She's studying film production, and
Yep.
it's like, geez, this is so much more convenient than going to West Coast, for that
Oh,
kind of
it,
stuff. But it's going to bring in I think uh, they hear 1,500 jobs, so
yeah.
1,200
There's
jobs, something like
1,500
that.
jobs. Now, let me tell you this. They're also building more studios in Bayonne, New Jersey, which is, it's not in the nicest part of Jersey. It's
Separate
near Newark.
from the Army installation.
Yeah, this is different.
Wow.
Yeah, Paramount has a subsidiary, smaller studio that is building studios in Bayonne, New Jersey. And then there's also there's that Newark is getting a studio, a smaller movie studio, and then there's another one that's more for like not streamers, but like for content, just online content creators, YouTubers
Yep.
in Patterson, New Jersey. In Patterson, like they're that area, they're totally like turning around, they're gentrifying it, and they're trying to bring in more business there. So they took this old warehouse, they're converting it into another like studio. So yeah,
That's. I mean, I'm shaking my head, but it's awesome. It's awesome in
it
the sense that it's going to bring tax revenue, but it's going to give so many jobs, so much
yeah.
availability, local
Yep.
talent, and there's so much talent in the Northeast. But that being said, I wanted to go back to
Yeah. Sorry.
the pricing because here's the thing. I actually got a question on a comment posted one of my videos this past week about having this viewer is trying to buy a house in Connecticut, and they said that this is like they were saying that all the Connecticut listings, which obviously generalizing is all the ones they were looking at. Everyone's doing a strategy that exactly like what you just said, and
Yep.
the fact of the matter is, it's not a Jersey thing, it's not a Connecticut thing, it's a strategy based
Yes.
on whatever market you're in. Okay, great. I want to talk real briefly about how buyers, like what can buyers do, and one of the things that if you take a step back, you say, okay, you got this house that is like as a good buyer's agent, but good buyer's agent knows the market. Everybody says, what does a buyer agent bring to a table? Like what they set up the house? No, the thing like a good surgeon or a good anybody that has experiential knowledge that you can't buy. It's something that you experience and then you share that knowledge. A good buyer's agent knows the market. So if you
Yep.
see a house and that house, you're like, okay, they're asking 700, but nothing in that neighborhood sells under $1 million.
Yep.
So couldn't a buyer, and I'm just saying this in generality, right? A strategy to avoid getting yourself into a situation where it's just hitting your head against the wall, hitting you, losing. Before you make an offer, pull the comps, see
Mm-hmm.
what that market value is. And if
Yep.
that market value is $1 million and they got a price tag of 700, like obviously it's a big swing, but just as an example, now the buyer can take a step back and say, okay, we know for a fact that this is not going to sell at 700. I can only afford up to 700. Now you walk away. You save yourself the
Mm-hmm.
heartache because it's not going to happen. And my
Right.
advice to the viewer was, if you are consistently running into that roadblock of not being able to compete, and if you're not able to compete, that means that those values may not be in your price range. It might be time to take a step back, take an honest look in the mirror, and say, okay, I hate doing this. It makes me sick, but I'm going to have to adjust my expectations. And now maybe look at a different neighborhood in a different price range, or
Yep.
just something that it makes more sense, because otherwise you're just going to be hitting that brick wall again and again and again. But we don't know what a house is going to sell for, because at the end of the day, a house sells for what a buyer thinks it's worth. And we don't have a crystal ball, and we don't know. We can't sit and see inside everyone's head to see what, how they feel about the house, and whether it's emotionally driven or some other reason. But from a market value standpoint, if it's like obviously underpriced as a strategy, and I think sometimes depending on the situation, I think some agents use that as an easy way, a lazy way to sell a house. I do, but I do think in other situations, if you have a house, especially if it needs work, especially like you were saying, the house that has good bones but like completely outdated, and
Mhm.
to try to get as many people in, it may be a viable strategy. But from a buyer, it's there are some things that you can do to avoid that heartache. I don't know. What are your thoughts about that?
I agree with you. When I have this with my clients, we always take a step back and we reassess and it's like you said, we have to adjust sorry, we have to adjust our price. Okay. So if 700 your max and we're seeing these houses for 700 selling well over, then and then it's time to reposition and look in other areas at where the prices are not as crazy. So that's exactly what I do. Um, but like you said, now this house, the first one that went for 125,000 over asking price, the one that needed work, but it was in a great neighborhood. I was shocked that it went for that amount, that high over list price. But this is an example, and I told my clients, I said, I can show you all the comps and tell you this is where the prices, this is where they're trading at, this is where they're landing. But there's always that one person that's desperate enough that will throw any amount of money to get the
Yep,
house.
it's
And
true.
it happens all the time. Like the other one that's going for 2 million right now. It was listed at 1.8. There's always that one person. And unfortunately, I'm seeing more of that again now. It's just they don't care. And
No.
cash. Cash. It's like, oh my god. So, the other thing that I do is I tell my clients, maybe let's take a step back and look at homes during a slower time, like in the summer,
Yep.
or let's look in the fall or the winter when things are have slowed down and there's less buyers out to compete with. I've had success with that too,
Yep.
where we've had to go over, but not these insane numbers. Like the ones I just got closed, they bought over the winter. It was very slow this winter with all the snowstorms. And I got one of my clients, he was only putting 5% down. The house was $975,000.
He's only
It had
putting
been on the
5%
market.
down?
He only put 5% down. So
Ouch.
I know, but
Mm.
they can swing it. He wasn't planning on it. The situation was he was just starting to look, but this house came up. He needed a house where his parents could move in with him. It was a perfect home for them. And he's like, I only got 5%. He goes, we can swing it. And I talked to his lender. He said, oh my God, they can totally swing it. Not a problem. And, but I went to the listing agent. We presented the offer and she's like, oh, that's really low. That's a low down payment. I go, talk to the lender. They can totally, they can afford this. This is not a problem. And
Mhm.
sure enough, she did. And they took us. They took our offer. We went in list at 975. They got it and closed in like 45 days.
Well,
So
I
yeah,
think that speaks to like, so our role, a real estate agent's role is to guide, to educate,
yep,
right? To help folks go into this with their eyes wide open. It is not
yes,
to make the decision for them. It is not to try to talk them out of a decision. That being said, we will do our best to say, make sure you have a budget and make sure that you know all the things and I always ask, especially first time home buyers that don't have equity from selling a house, you know, does your down payment, will you have money in the bank after your down payment? Like
yep,
if you tell me your what that is your down, that is your savings, I'm going to strongly recommend that you press pause and get some money in
mhm,
the bank first, because it always happens as soon as you move in, and then something breaks, and now
right,
and that's how that you know the negative stories, that's how the snowball starts.
yeah,
And you borrow for the repairs and all the things, but at the end of the day, we can't make the decision for them. And if they want to
no,
put 5% down on $1 million house, even though you and I go like, Hey,
I
it's
know.
their
I was like,
decision.
"Me?"
It's their
Yeah,
decision.
I was very wee.
It
Yep,
totally is their decision.
yep.
I want to get to some of these comments and see what's popping. See what's
Okay.
popping.
My favorite part. I love it.
It's me, Paul. I am sorry to disappoint you that my guest is not Bob Vila.
Sorry.
Bob Vila's old. Jackie's young and vigorous.
Hey, thanks. Thanks, John.
You're still older than me. She's like my older sister by like what, a year and a half. But I'm the oldest child in my growing up, so I'm like, I have an older sister, yay.
Yay. Yay.
Oh, you're gonna kill me, aren't you? Uh,
Yes.
Kimberly says, Jen and Jackie, first showing Sunday afternoon, back from second showing today, and buyer's agent submitting offer now. Not a win yet, but crossing my
Oh, it's
fingers. All right.
awesome.
You know what? We're gonna send some good vibes to you, my friend.
Good vibes to you,
Good
Kimberly.
vibes.
Report back. I wanna know. I wanna hear that you got an offer accepted next week.
Jose, good to see you. Good to see you. This is wow, the magnificent
Yay.
duo. Hello to you both from Malvern, Pennsylvania.
What's up,
Well, thank you
Jose?
very much. Love it. What's
Yay.
up, Jose? Skate says, seems like a lot of people from Connecticut are moving to Vermont and New Hampshire. I haven't, I mean,
Hmm.
I haven't seen a lot. Have you seen any of that with, in terms of like your referral requests? You know, people reaching out for referrals for buyers agents and whatnot. Have you had
No.
much going
No,
up to that
I
way?
haven't really. I have not had any referrals from Connecticut in a while. I've had a lot looking in Florida and also, where else? Yeah, people moving to Florida, North Carolina, that's been a big one lately.
Well, this is the
Um,
spring season for Florida. Like this is
yes,
like the nicest time of the year. It's like November, late November to late, well, like tail. I mean, well, actually, gosh, it's already April, so this is actually
it's
the tail end of it. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it,
yeah,
but
it's mid-April here.
yeah, spring break and all the things, people are looking to take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Yep.
and we've got a QQQ. So XVYJZ0 says, my house has been on the market with a lot of showings, but no offers for 32 days. But my realtor sent me comps in my area of 51 median of days on market. The feedback survey says price isn't the issue. What are your thoughts, Jackie?
I always go to the price. I always go to the price. And I think sometimes people just don't want to insult the owner and they won't say that it's
Mm-hmm.
priced too high. And I'm also finding now, Jen, with showing time, the app that we use to schedule showings, and then it automatically sends the buyer's agent feedback. I don't get feedback like the listings I've had like last year, and I got a couple coming on in the next month or so, and I'm gearing up for this. They're not giving feedback as much anymore
Well,
because of the recent lawsuits. I don't know if you
well,
heard about
well.
that
I
one,
think it
but
started before that, Jackie. I noticed. So showing time for you guys, you probably don't know. So showing time it's like it's an administrative service that
yeah,
agents use for just handling, buyer agent incoming calls. That's only for agents, and they
yep,
basically just they schedule based on whatever instructions we give them. And the nice thing is because a lot, like in my area too, a lot of the agents use that service, so it allows me to get some inside data on like the showing activity, because otherwise
right,
there's no way to know. We have no
right,
idea how many showings are being scheduled, because that's not information that's shared. The house down the street, if they don't use showing time, I don't know how many people are coming in and out of that house. But
exactly.
showing time does. But I have noticed over the last, oh gosh, 10 years, 8 years, like before the pandemic, even, um,
Hmm.
a downslide of
Yeah.
agents not giving feedback, not providing any
Hmm.
feedback, like 2 words,
Yep.
not interested.
Yep.
Great,
Yep.
thanks. I think honestly, Jackie, you want my honest opinion? Lazy agents. Agents have
Oh, you
gotten flippin' lazy by the day,
well,
by the year. Every year that goes by, they're leveraging AI or technology, or they just don't want to work.
right.
And it requires extra work to send feedback to the listing agent. That's
I
what,
mean,
so I
how hard
noticed
is it
that a while back,
but
used to
yeah,
call all the
yeah.
time. I get feedback all the time. Now it's like, you know,
And how hard is it to answer a few questions? How was the showing? How would you rate the showing? Excellent, fair, whatever. What do you think of the price? Too high, too low, just right? Like, how hard is it to answer that? But to
well,
answer but I want to go back to this person's question because I'm reading this again.
yep.
32 days, a realtor sent me comps from an area of 51-day median of days on market. And then the feedback says the price isn't the issue. So what feedback are they giving you? I mean,
Right.
what are are there negatives to the house that people dislike? But my is like here's my I keep going back to my example right now. I'm trying to sell my stupid condo in Delaware, and it's a three
Your
floor
condo
walk
doesn't
up.
have a brain. So therefore the condo cannot be stupid.
Well, it's stupid to me. But anyway, no, I do. I love my condo. I do. But uh, whereas a couple of years ago, it was a hot community, right? When we bought it, it was, we were in a bidding war to buy this place. I mean, it was a hot community. Now, not so much anymore because now I have competition. So I have more
Mm,
new construction in the same price point as my place. So people are like, why am I going to walk up 3 flights to to this condo where I can just buy a house for the same price or slightly more?
right.
So the other thing is you need to look at, you're looking at your comps, but what is your true competition? So I have that. I have new construction surrounding me that's affecting me. And then the feedback I do get from people is like they don't like the stairs. I'm like, okay, a few years ago people didn't give a crap about the stairs. Now everybody cares about the stairs.
Right.
So there's nothing I can do about that except bring my price down even more to compensate for that.
Well,
But
and 9 times out of 10, I mean, it's always, so it comes down to two things, right? Price and
mhm.
presentation. Price and
Yes.
presentation.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what amenities you have, where it's at, location,
Yep.
age, condition, price and presentation. And what does
That's
that
right.
mean? That means you have to price it based on the presentation. Presentation
Yep.
is, does it need work? Does it have quirky features? Does it have quirky staging? Does it have is it super customized? Is it a floor plan that is not common? Is it, does it
Mhm.
have, certain things that maybe the majority of buyers are not interested in right now? All these things you have to take into consideration, and it has to be
Mhm.
priced accordingly. And
Yep.
unfortunately, there are homes that are customized. We all customize our homes to the way we want them. Okay, my home
Yep.
super customized. I can't even tell you how much investment I've made with smart home technology and all the things.
Yep.
I will not see that money back. I know that because the
Right.
majority of buyers in my market are not going to care. They're not going to care. And I
Mhm.
may end up I just may end up ripping it out just to sell the house faster or to make it, to have it less objections. So, that is hard for a home seller to wrap their mind around, to
Yes.
say, to get yourself out of yourself, to say, just because you like it doesn't mean everybody else does. Yes, there might be, uh, a turkey can fly in a hurricane. Like once in a millennial, it's a needle in a haystack. You might find one buyer that likes all the stuff that you like. But how long
Exactly.
are you willing to wait, and what's that going to cost you
Yep.
while you're waiting?
That's
And
right.
that's, at the end of the day, you know, here's my advice for this comment for XVYJZ. Um, your agent sending you comps is not good enough. Is not good enough. You need to have that agent call you, sit down with you, ideally sit down with you, or do a Zoom call if you guys, if it's a location challenge or whatever. You need to have a conversation with that agent. That agent needs to tell you exactly how those comps relate to your house. I'll just
Mhm.
send you the comps. You know what I mean? That's like a surgeon being like, "Oh, you need your kidneys out, and I need you to you need some anesthesia. So I'm going to send you the anesthesia in the mail. What do I do with this now?" I'm like, "No, that's their job. That's their
Yep.
job. That's what you're paying them for,
That's
right?"
right.
So you've got to, push. You got to. I always tell you guys, demand value. You're paying good money. Demand
Mm-hmm.
value. You're entitled to value. Period. They need to explain to you, it doesn't matter if it's 14 ways to Sunday. If you don't understand, they need to explain it a different way. Explain it a different way. And if they don't like it, then they can hit the road and get another agent. But
Right.
that's what I would do. I would say, listen, you need to explain to me how these comps relate to my house. And I agree with you, Jackie. I think that a lot of the feedback, the buyers back away and they don't want to say that the house is overpriced, or they just don't,
Yeah.
or they maybe don't have an opinion on it. You know,
Yeah.
just because you have that one little piece of feedback, a lazy agent will just hang their hat on it and be like, okay, I guess that's the issue. Next. You just have to sit tight.
Mm-hmm.
Next. Like it's a complicated thing. It's a
Yeah.
complicated thing. Um, let's see. We got Jose says, my 2 cents, I will buy a house when I'm fully prepared. Yes. The 3 key requirements: 20% down payment covering closing costs, having emergency funds. I will continue renting. Well, you know what?
And
I love the fact that you're clear on what's important to
yes,
you. I really,
those
really, really applaud you for the fact that you're clear on what's important to you.
the 3 most important things that he's focusing on, and that's very smart.
Yep. Angie Madcat. Uh, so Angie says, now that it's crunch time and we're finalizing things to sell, I'm actually getting a little jittery. That's normal. Worried about what's going on in the world will scare buyers again. What do you think? So my opinion on that, and I'm really curious to hear what your take is on it, because of the fact you're coming in contact with a lot more buyers than I do on the day to
Mhm.
day, as of late, but
Yes.
just in terms of what I'm seeing in terms of the traffic and the people, honestly, the messages I'm getting with, from my referral partners that, that I connected them with one, somebody that reached out for a referral, and it's, pending, 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 pending. It's been busy across the country the last,
Mhm.
month.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
Angie, people are going to buy when it's the right time, regardless. And I know this is a drum that I bang loudly, but this applies to something like the Iran conflict as well. At the end of the day, it's, can I afford it? Is it the right time for me, financially, for my job, for my family, for my health, whatever's happening in my household, whatever's happening in my household. The reality is what's happening over there. Yeah, it's going to indirectly affect us one way or another. Maybe the gas prices go up, go down, whatever. But if you financially have cushion for it, you're going to do it. And you're down in Southern California. And I mean, I've never been to Southern California, but I know a little bit about values down there. And they get those buyers are the ones that
Mhm.
have the money. You get up in the upper price ranges. And Jackie, this is right in your wheelhouse. When you
Yep.
get up to a certain point, people don't feel it.
No.
They don't feel it. When the market crashed, great financial crisis, '06, '07, '08, okay? The people that felt it were middle and below.
Mhm.
The people that were upper and above median and higher, that doesn't impact them.
No.
Doesn't impact them. They
No,
just do what
it
they
it
want to do. It
doesn't.
doesn't, they just continue. I don't know your market, but my instinct says I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. I think that you price it well, price it properly based on recent. I would say that focus on recent last 30 days comps.
Mhm.
Real recent comps. Make sure you get that pricing right. But I wouldn't worry about it. What's your
I
input on that?
agree. I wouldn't worry about it either. Just because, like you, I'm referring a lot of people around the country, and I do get a lot of requests. I get requests for both, but it's been a lot of buyers, and they're out there. Like Jen said, people are ready for whatever their situation is. They need to move. They need to get into a bigger space, or I hear from a lot of first time buyers, and they're ready. So it's not scaring people. It's not. I
Nope.
think I think people are hearing that it's shifting into buyers markets and a lot of markets in this country, and now people want to take advantage of that,
Yep.
except
Totally.
Jersey. Don't come to
Totally.
Jersey. Yeah, yeah.
Jackie,
What?
I want to do a trivia. So
Okay.
we're going to do a trivia question, and I've got some of these awesome Amazon $25 Amazon gift card that I will send out. The one thing that I have on my notes here that I didn't post. I was Jackie, you were giving me a hard time about it before we jumped on the live stream. I was, ran short on time. I was like, I had too many things on the list. I'm going to post a link, guys, in the description where you can fill it out and give me your mailing address and all that kind of stuff. So, this is going to be geared towards those that know me a little bit. You guys are old hat to the show and kind of have been following along, showing up every Tuesday. So what DIY project was I doing last year when I injured my shoulder? Was I painting? Was I hanging sheetrock? Was I replacing copper water lines, or was I organizing my sock drawer? First one to get it right gets the gift card. And let's see who's got the answer. Who's got the answer? I'm going to jump on the live on the old interwebs here because my chat. Oh, we got. Oh, wait a minute. Dun 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 dun. Yes, you are correct. You are correct. I was plumbing.
Yes. Leave it to you.
I
Injure your
put my
shoulder.
Yeah, I was like 8 hours of like this with a ProPress machine, and
Oh,
I had what do they call that, Jackie? Impingement on the
yeah.
on the tendon on the
Uh-huh.
outside for like
Yeah.
months, and it's still not right.
Well,
So
next
yes,
time.
Marta
Yeah.
Davies, I will get you. There will be after we finish up the show, I'm going to pop the link in the description. Just fill that out, and I'll get you a gift card out there. So thank you, congratulations,
Yay, congrats.
woohoo,
Right.
woohoo. Um, Jackie, I want to get into a question. So I got some questions
Mhm.
that came in from some viewers, okay,
Okay.
that over the past week or so. And these are questions that, to be honest, probably everybody's gotten rattling around their head, and then I thought it'd be a good conversation to get your input. So this viewer commented in Texas. Do buyer agents call the listing agent? I talked a little bit about this last week. Do buyer agents call the listing agents to find out if the seller will pay them? How do you address this with the selling agent? If both are employed by the seller, can the seller provide them a sliding scale for their commission based on sale price? Also, if a seller's agent wants to put 5% of the contract to pay buyer's agent half, is that legal? There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to
Mhm.
unpack. And whatnot. And actually, I'm going to take a quick stab, and then I'll turn it over to you real quick. So, first off, I'm just going to attack. I'm just going to broach the subject of both being employed by the seller. They are not. They are not. They are not. They are not. And this has been something that was clarified August 17th, 2024, when the NAR settlement rolled out, and it became a requirement if an agent is part of the National Association of Realtors organization, they have to abide by their rules, which means that everything is separated, which it should be. What happens, and this is where the confusion is that when an offer is made, a buyer can instruct the buyer agent to help them write the offer. The buyer puts the offer together, and the buyer asks the seller for a credit to help cover the cost of their buyer agent fee. The buyer is paying the buyer agent, period.
Mhm.
The buyer is paying the buyer agent. The seller is not paying the buyer agent outright. If the buyer asks the seller for a credit, 2%, 2.5%, whatever it is, okay, that credit goes to the buyer. That buyer then uses that credit to pay the buyer agent. But the seller does not employ the two agents. I just want to be super clear about that. There is no dual agency, total different conversation another day. Where one agent is handling both sides of the transaction. I think I completely disagree with that. But that's the one thing that I wanted to point out, is that they are not both employed. But, Jackie, we get this question a lot. Like, why is it, how do you, with the buyer agents, when initially those changes rolled out, there were a lot of agents that were calling to see, because, well, when we back up before then, right, it was in MLS. Buyer agent, and then the percentage. It was in MLS. And, an unscrupulous 80% agent, as I call them, would steer buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It's still happening, Jackie.
Oh, yeah,
it's still
absolutely.
happening. It hasn't stopped it. Yep. It's just they're sneaky about it. So, what I typically recommend for sellers, what I do for my sellers, is I tell the sellers, don't offer a buyer agent commission up front. Wait for them to ask. Wait for them to ask. If a buyer agent calls me, I simply tell them the seller is entertaining all offers and all terms. End of story.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's it. They paying a buyer agent fee. The seller's entertaining all offers and all terms. Mm-hmm. Write your offer. Right. But they don't call anymore. I get once in a blue moon, but hardly ever do they call. What is your experience? What's your take and all that kind of stuff?
So for myself, for someone who's in the throes of this right now, see down here, what I've been doing lately, I'm throwing in the offer with, I don't even ask anymore. I throw in the offer with, whatever the compensation is that we agreed upon. If I feel it's competitive, I might adjust that a little bit, to make our offer stand out. But we were calling when the rule first came out, we were calling because my buyers at the time were like, I need to know, are we going to have to pay some of your commission? Do we have to pay you at all? Can you find out if the seller's paying? That's why I was calling. And now I'm just doing what you said. I'm just writing up the offer and I'm submitting it. I'm not asking. I just send it in now. And it's interesting that you bring this up because, I'm going to have a couple listings coming on the market. And I think that's the approach I'm going to be doing. Because let me tell you, when this whole rule first changed, we were advised to, not say that, not say like, oh, the seller will negotiate, is willing to negotiate the commission, and they wouldn't put out a number.
Yep.
And we had a lot of like broker managers poo-pooing that. They're like, no, that's not right. They should be telling you what the seller's willing to pay. And now that was what, 2 years now we've had this since we had that change?
Year and a half.
Year and a half. So that has changed. So I think this is the approach I'm going to be using too, because, submit your offer, because what I have found too, like if the offer is really strong and you say if the buyer agency agreement is 2.5, the seller might be willing to pay it, because if you're especially with the amount of how high the offers that we get down here, it might be possible. They may consider it, but I'm using it as a little bit of a strategy tactic too, to like give my people an edge, to entice that seller.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Here's a perfect example. I put an offer for clients, and the listing agent was, said, oh, she's motivated. This person's motivated to sell. She's willing to offer 3% to the buyer agent. You know what I put on the contract? I put 2%. I'm like, I don't need the 3%. I have an agreement for 2% with my buyers, and that's what I did.
Yep.
And
technically, that's what you're supposed to do. Like if your contract, and here's the thing: the buyer agent, the seller does not have access to the buyer's contract with their buyer agent, nor are they entitled to. Right. So there's no way for a seller to know what a buyer, what the agreement is they have with their buyer. And so you hope that the buyer's agent is doing what is ethically, correct. But from a seller standpoint, you can't worry about it. Here's the thing, Jackie, from a seller standpoint, I understand the pushback. I totally understand. I get the fact that
Yeah.
it's hard to look at that and be like, okay, would back out all the closing costs, and it's a big chunk of money. The recommendation I always give my home sellers is, and this is from day one, look at the net. Look at the net and the walk away, because the fact of the matter is this is what it cost. Okay, it doesn't matter if you do it today, tomorrow, next week, next month, across the board. There's going to be, if unless you do it yourself, right? Unless you do it for
Hmm.
sale by owner. But if you're working with an agent, there's going to be a listing agent fee, and chances are 99% of the time there's going to be, there's going to be a buyer agent fee. I have
Right.
not come across a situation where there hasn't. Only once was there not a buyer agent fee, come to think of it, and that was because these young first time home buyers, this was like last year, and their his mother was a real estate attorney. There was no buyer agent. His mother advised him during the transaction. So there was no buyer agent fee. So they didn't put in, the seller didn't pay a buyer agent fee because there was no buyer agent. But if the fees exist, when you sit down with that agent, you are going through those net proceeds before you even put it on the market. You
Hmm.
know what that bottom line number is. And the reality of it is, and I've said this before, it's a mind, it is a shift that you need to adjust in your mind on what is real money. If it's 300,000 and the closing costs are 25,000, and you say, oh gosh, it's 275, I'm giving up, I'm losing 25,000. You're not losing 25,000. You haven't walked away with any money. It's not real
Hmm.
until it's in your pocket. And the
Hmm.
fact is it's an even playing field for most people that you're talking to. So
Yep.
it comes down to the net, and especially like if you're in a market in the Northeast or in Jersey, Jackie, the sellers, you've got to look at, it can't be apples to apples. This offer has this commission, this offer has that commission. You've got to look at the net, because you might find out that a lower offer is actually netting you more money
That's right.
because they
That's
add
right.
in concessions, or they want you to pay for home warranties or whatever, or you have an offer that's a higher number, but the agent can tell based on their research on that offer. They get a sense that these buyers maybe are 5% down buyers. They may end up nickel and diming you at the home inspection, which
Hmm.
means you're probably going to end up giving them they may ask for a credit and keep the deal together and all the things. Like if at the end of the day you may end up with less money. These are all
Hmm.
you got to look at the sum of the parts, right? Um,
Yes.
the last question that she asked real quick is, is the seller's agent, if the seller agent wants to put 5% in the contract to pay buyer agent half, is that legal? So it's only legal if you allow it. Like, if the buyer, if they say to you, they explain to you that this is what I would like to do, this is what I customarily do. If you're okay with it, then it's fine. If you're not, then it's not.
Right.
They can't force their hand on you. They can't force you to do it. The buyer, a lot of agents will offer it up front because there's less friction. And it's like,
Hmm.
this is just what we pay. And honestly, I think it's the lazy way to do it. I really do,
Yeah.
because it requires more work. But is it illegal? No, it's only illegal if you don't agree to it.
Right. Now, but this is in Texas. Like, so for Jersey, when we specify if the seller does want to offer to pay the buyer agent, like there's a whole separate agreement that they have to sign
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for that. So it's, we're not dictating that. We're not putting that in there. That's all on the seller.
Yep.
And
No, it's a
they dictate.
complicated commissions, contracts.
Yep.
I mean, we could do a whole live stream on that.
Oh my God, we could
Easy,
we could
easy,
go on for
easy.
days about that.
We could talk for days. Oh my God, Jackie.
Days.
Oh my
Days,
God.
Jen.
I
Swear to God.
swear to God.
Miss H, what's up? I love Miss H.
Jen and Jackie and all. If a person that owns a multiple building for residents, a multifamily, have you or Jackie ever sold for them, or is it not allowed to sell for persons selling that property? I'm not quite sure what you're asking. So
Yeah.
a multifamily is considered residential real estate.
Yep.
I have sold a multifamily before.
Yeah,
We
me
do
too.
not have a lot of multifamilies in Plymouth. So it's just
Same
not,
here. We don't
you know,
either.
it's just not something that I get, that I have, that I've available to me to even be involved in. But a multifamily, it does have a certain skill set on the listing agent side, in the sense that the agent needs to understand, cash flow and how rents work, and is it occupied tenants now? If the tenants are, do they have, to ask all the right questions, test on a lease and yada 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 and all the things. But it's considered residential real estate. I'm not quite sure I understand what the part of your question is. Ever sold them,
Yeah.
or is it not
No,
allowed
it's
to sell?
sell
Maybe
versus
it's one of
selling
the,
that
maybe
property.
it's all part of the same question, but
Yeah.
um, but it's probably the same for you too, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um,
I'm still trying to make sense. Yeah.
maybe Miss H can elaborate.
Yeah. You
Um,
can elaborate. That would be great.
Angie says, I will not tell a buyer's agent if I'm
Mhm.
paying ahead of time. Um, Angie's a smart cookie. Jackie is,
Yes.
um, Angie, I talk about you behind your back. I gotta tell you. I tell Jackie all about. I'm like, I've never met her, I've
She
never talked
does.
to her. She's on the West Coast, but she sounds pretty cool. And her husband's in contract, and she likes to woodwork and all the things. I'm like,
Yep.
I wish she was close. We'd hang out. We sound really cool. But anywho, uh, I will not tell a buyer. Blah blah blah. It will be negotiable depending on the offer made and the conditions
And the
they're
conditions they're
asking for.
asking for. Yep.
So
That's
here's the
right.
thing: when I negotiate those offers, Jackie, and the offer comes in, it's this amount, and then whatever credits, maybe the only credit they're asking for is the buyer agent fee. Well, when I sit down with a seller, when I'm talking to a seller, I say, okay, the offer's at 100,000. Buy a house for 100,000 anymore, but say 100,000, and then maybe they're asking for 2.5%, $2,500. Okay, great.
Mhm.
Here's your offer. Your offer is now 97.5. Period. It's not 100, it's 97.5. If
Right. Yep.
97.5 is not good enough, then we counter at 99. The credit doesn't matter. That's
Mhm.
for the agent to discuss with the buyer, right?
Exactly.
If they want to reduce it or if they want to raise the price, it doesn't matter. We don't care, and nor should the seller. Because at the end of
Mhm.
the day, as long as the seller walks away with 99,000, that's all that matters,
Right.
right? Like however you slice it, it's the same pie. You go from
Yep.
100 to 99,000. A lot of folks will say, I'll accept your offer, but from a moral standpoint or ethical standpoint, whatever, I can't pay a buyer agent fee. Well, it's like telling people that, well, I can't sell to you because you have a red car. Who cares? It's a
Mhm.
transaction, and that's why a good agent will guide you through that emotional process. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's all about the bottom line and the number. It's all about the
Yep.
number. And then and Jackie, back in the day, back in my day, when a first time home buyer could get a foot in the door back in the late 90s, closing cost concessions were a normal thing.
I know.
Closing cost concessions were an everyday event for a first time home buyer. I did it when I
Yep.
bought my first place. And a closing cost concession just basically means the buyer asked the seller for a credit to cover their closing costs, so it would free up cash, and so they
Yeah.
can keep their closing cost money in their pocket, so they would have money in the bank when they close on the house,
Yep.
for savings and all the things. This is pretty much the same thought process. And
Mhm.
I had situations, say $100,000, and you ask the seller for $2,500 seller concession, and the seller's like, I really want to walk away with 100. So what do? We counter at 102.5. And now just comes the question of, will it appraise at 102.5, and what happens
Right.
if it doesn't? That's a whole nother conversation.
That's
But
a whole other, yeah.
those are the things that an experienced agent, and why I always say, research and interview multiple agents and all the things. Years
Mhm.
in the business matters. Number of transaction matters. It's not the only thing. High producing agent can be it doesn't make him a good agent. But agents that have been around the bend, they know this stuff.
Yep.
Miss H asks, will that be considered a business transaction from a corporation, even though it's just one person? No, no. So
No.
multifamily is a private residential sale.
Yes.
It's not a business transaction at all.
Right.
Don't be scared, Angie. Don't be scared.
It'll be okay, Angie.
It'll be. See,
It'll be
Tia's got your
fine.
back. Tia's got your back. Don't be scared, Andrew. We're a warm, loving group here.
Yes,
We're a warm,
we
loving
got you
group.
covered.
Got you covered. In the spirit of that, you want to do the trivia question
Yes.
for another Amazon gift card? I'm going to throw you guys a super easy one. Okay, so get your fingers
Oh
ready. A B
God.
C D.
If
This
people
one's
don't
like
get
this is
this,
low hanging fruit right here, guys.
uh,
I don't want to make you think too hard. All right, what's my favorite color?
oh my God.
Be ready, because you guys know. Okay, is it green? Is it blue? Is it purple? Is it orange? Come on now.
Come on. This is an
I'm
easy
waiting.
one.
I'm waiting. Who's got the first
Come on,
answer? This is
everybody.
not a tough one. This is not a tough one. Oh, no, Miss H. Oh gosh.
Oh,
Come on, guys. What's my favorite color?
come on.
Mmm.
Oh,
Ah ha ha. Kristen is the first one I'm seeing that's got the right answer. It is
yes.
purple. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I mean, gosh, Jackie,
Yay.
you don't have to watch any of my live streams to figure that out, I
Well,
think, right?
hello. You got purple on your background. Like,
I guess it
come
was the color of
on.
my
I
hair,
know. In your
my
head.
pen,
Oh
and
my
all of it.
God.
Oh, I love it. If I can get it, if I can get something purple, I will. So, Kristen, I'll have the form in the description. Fill it out and give me your address, and I'll mail that out to you pronto. Yeah, now I'm getting all the things. And oh, you know what? We got a little guest in the house here. A little hello to a familiar face.
Oh,
Hello,
hello, my
Stella.
friend Stella.
Hello, Jackie's teammate down in
Yes.
Jersey, Dirty
Yes.
Jers.
In the Dirty Jers.
Down
My
in the
girl
Dirty
Stella.
Jers. That's awesome. Glad you
Yay.
joined us. So there's one more trivia coming up, guys. So yeah, one more chance. What do we do? One question so far? I think we do one question, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, another question. Why must agents? I think this is one that's like burning in everybody's head. I get this comment all the time on my channel. Why
Mm-hmm.
must agents get paid based on the price of the home? Isn't the output cost the same regardless of the price? What about a fixed amount? Why are buyer agents paid the same as listing agents?
Ooh.
I got a lot of thoughts. You go take a stab at it, Jackie, and share what you're thinking, and then
This is
I'll
like,
contribute.
oh, this is tough.
Or you want me to go first?
I want to hear you go. I
Okay.
want to hear you.
So the concept of being paid as a percentage of the sale price that actually started, oh gosh, 1940s early. That's been that way for decades and decades and decades.
Right.
And as prices are, increasing, there has been conversation about things changing. And do I think that sometimes it gets unruly, and maybe that the system for managing, for predicting commissions, or calculating commissions, should be adjusted. Here lies the issue with that. And actually, I had a viewer reach out to me about this particular concept, in terms of how agents work. Because actually, I sent them an agent referral, and they said, "Oh, we were half expecting it to be a Remax agent because I hang my license with Remax." And I said, "I don't care what agency."
Yeah.
And the reason is because every single real estate agent in the country is an independent contractor. They are not employees, and that is
Right.
something that is not known, Jackie. Like we don't have a boss. I'm looking in
That's
the mirror
right.
at mine every day. Like no one dictates what I do. No one, in certain offices have rules when you you agree to join an office, you're
Mhm.
agreeing to abide by their set of rules. Just like if you want to be associated with the National Association of Realtors, you have to abide by those National Association of Realtor rules. But they're all independent. And in order
Right.
to get, what was it, 1.4 million agents in the country right now, to get
Mhm.
them all to say, you know what, I'm going to cap my commission here, or I'm going to calculate whatever, it's going to be like pushing a boulder uphill. However, the alternative options are happening, and you know what? There are a lot of what they call them discount agents, or
Yep.
creative agencies where maybe they don't need a full level of service, or maybe they'll do a discount agent. Keep in mind, discount agents, their business is based more on volume, so that they're going to try to. You're not going to get the same level of hand holding, explaining, and so on and so forth, by paying, this agent a fraction of the money that this agent's charging. Generally, and you guys know how I feel about the majority of the agents now in terms of, the value. Most of the agents in this country are not full service agents. They're all discount agents in disguise. The full value agents, the ones that are in my referral partners, that are in your referral partners, Jackie, those full value service agents are they deliver service like that provides that value for that money. But
Mhm.
here's the thing: is that I hear this isn't the output cost the same? No. And the reason being is the expectation of a seller on a $1.5 million home versus a seller on a $250,000 home is different. I have seen and I've heard, I've talked to referral partners in California that will not blink an eye. They will not even, in a blink of an eye, spend 10 grand on personal advertising and parties and staging and all the things. Whereas on a 250,000, you're not doing that.
Right.
You're not doing that. I mean, yes, there's definitely some overlap, for sure, but there are, as you go up in the price range. I can almost guarantee, Jackie, and we haven't, we've talked a little bit, but I can almost guarantee that in your market, in the Jersey market, the expectation of what an agent brings to the table monetarily, right, is different. If you hire an agent with a team and you're getting the benefit of that team, meaning you've got somebody on speed dial from that team
Mhm.
7 days a week, that is extra value that's costing the agent money that that you're benefiting from, that a single agent isn't going to be able to offer. And typically, when you again go up that ladder in price range and you go up to more affluent price ranges, teams are going to become more the norm. So I think it's not a straight line, by no means, because there are agents that are selling $1.5 million homes that are doing nothing, right? But
Mhm.
a good agent, it does uh, tick up, and that's, and when it comes to a fixed amount, that is why. Because if an agent's only making $5,000, and I say only because of the fact that it's just it doesn't matter to you guys. It doesn't. It shouldn't, and it's not your concern. That's not your worry. But the fact of the matter is it costs a lot of money to be in this business. And just like it costs a lot of money for the mechanic to keep the doors open, and doctor to
Yep.
keep their doors open, licensing and equipment and all those things that don't directly affect you, but do affect our bottom line. And then when we do our budgets, it's like, okay, in order to make the ends meet, I've got to make this. Otherwise, I can't keep the doors open. And
Right.
that's when it ultimately there. I pay 15% minimum, 15% extra self-employment tax. Every agent does.
Yep.
If you work for a company, or you're retired or whatnot, try looking at your numbers and looking at your income for the year and subtracting 15% to go to the federal government. Not your problem. That's my choice to do this business. But if you're asking the question, what warrants the difference? There are behind the scenes differences that do make a difference for how much money we put out.
Yeah.
That's my two
So
cents.
I want to add to that too, that people think like, oh, you're making, 2.5, 3% or whatever on the sale. It's like, thousands of dollars. What people don't realize too, we also have to split that commission with our brokerage. Okay.
Right.
So
Again,
I'm
not
not,
the seller's problem, but that's the reality of you being able to keep your doors open. You wouldn't be able
well,
to
right,
afford to
exactly.
do the job if you didn't, charge that money.
Right. So, because, right, a portion of that is going back to my company. I don't get that full. People look at that like, oh, you're gonna. I'm like, no, that's not all coming to me, and then I got to pay taxes on it, like you said. But I wanted to. Is why are buyer agents paid the same as listing agents? I want to go back to what you're saying. When you're getting a full service agent, there's justification there, especially on the buyer side. We are driving, we're putting miles, we're spending money on gas and hours. Like, I could show 5, 6 homes in a day. All right. And I'm driving all over the place. So,
Mm.
I could go through a tank of gas over a
Yep.
weekend showing homes. Okay. I am available, as you know, Jen, I know this drives you nuts, but I'm
Trust
available
me,
7 days a week.
listen,
You
I
work
know
with
about
me.
your availability because I
You,
went down and I stayed with you, and I was like, Jackie, I'm like, aren't we supposed to be hanging out? And you,
I know.
and it was like extenuating circumstances, but I know, like, trying to get you on the phone sometimes when you're busy because you're so flippin' devoted
Well,
to
yeah, and
your people
yeah,
and being
I
available.
am.
It's a that's the price of providing value.
Well,
And
that's exactly it. And so here's another example. It's like I was talking I met with new sellers. I'm gonna be selling their home this summer for them. And when they asked me the question, so how many homes have you sold? I came right out and told them, like, I'm not like one of these big producers that sell, 30, 40 homes. We have a lot of those here in Jersey, right? And kudos to them,
yep,
but, they have help. They're not doing it by themselves. They have
right.
assistants, they have buyer's agents working for them, whatever. But when I get asked that question and they're like, well, so how many homes have you sold? I'll give them the number and I go, "Look, I know it's not as much as what you would think for somebody like me and being in this business for as long as I have been. I'm not, I'm not selling as many as these producers." I go, "But here's the problem. What I see with that. I'm not judging other agents, but if you want me, you want my commitment and you want my attention, I'm only going to take on a certain amount of clients per year
Yep.
because the more I take on, the more distracted I'll get. And that takes away from my level of service I'm providing you. So, there in of itself, that's the value that I'm giving every client. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, so I just closed 2 deals. I got 2 new buyers I just brought in. So, as they come off, I have a limit of how many people I want to work with because it's so important to me that I make sure that these people are taken care of and I'm going to stay on top of everything. If I have 20 deals going on at once, I mean, yes, I'm
That's a
part of a team
lot.
and I have
That's
tremendous support,
that's
but
incredibly
but
that's
there are agents out there that are doing it, Jen. But I
so
mean, that's why I'm on a team now because I have that support where if I need somebody to step in, like, you know what, can you go to this inspection for me? Or
yep.
can you do this? Like, but and I don't want to keep doing that
Spend
either because
time
I
spend
want to
time
be
with
there.
your dear friend when she comes to visit, just
And
saying.
spend time with my dear friend when she comes to visit. But yeah, so that's but but to
No,
answer that
I get
question,
you because I've
this is
interviewed.
why we get paid this because, we
Yeah,
are look, Jen, we are 20 percenters. Every day, twice on Sunday. You and I are
10
20%
10
agents.
10. I honestly, it's probably 90-10 in the industry. 80-10 sounds good. 80-10 is a nice round number. The Pareto principle, but it's probably 90-10. But
Yeah, 10, we're 90, so we're the 10%. We're the
yep,
we're the ones that go, and I'm not bragging, but listen, I'm speaking the truth that you and I we have the same philosophies when it comes to this business because we know how many crappy agents there are out there and that are just, it's just one transaction after another. It's just a
I've
number.
I've
So,
interviewed for potential referral partners. I've interviewed quite a few agents
yeah,
that are high producers, meaning they're selling a lot of homes.
right.
And all day long, it's just about the transaction. I
That's
tell them up
exactly it.
front, I'm
Yes.
looking for, I don't, I research them before I talk to them. I
Yep.
go through all their
Same.
socials and all their experiential knowledge and how many transactions, and I comb through all the data. And then when I get on the phone, my one goal is to see is number one, see if they're picking up what I'm putting down in terms of my philosophy, my mission here.
Yeah.
To look for those, a certain type of agent, but also to see if they're empathetic. If you've got a seller who's freaking out because they haven't, either the transaction they have, the buyers are getting a little wiggly, or if they don't even have an offer yet, and they're like, when are we going to get an offer? And I need to move, and there's a house I want to buy, but I can't do it because I haven't an offer yet, and they're free. They need a hand holding. And if if you have an agent that is too busy, which there's only 24 hours in a day. When you get to a certain level, it becomes a machine. It becomes a
Right.
machine. And that's the thing that I always tell folks that, when I'm vetting out my referral partners, you are the same way. It's,
Yep.
how many homes you sold is a component. You have to have experiential knowledge, but it's not the only component. It's not the highest component,
Right.
I got some questions. I got some comments here I want to get to.
Yeah, lots of questions.
Jackie. So, MHOA says, I was an independent contractor for over 30 years. Being self-employed is a tough gig. So you
Sure
understand.
is.
It sure is.
We feel your pain, MH.
The flip side,
Yeah.
I never missed when my kid was playing baseball, softball, marching band, chorus, I never missed any of it. Maybe once. And because I could control, I didn't have to be in an office 5 days a week, so that's the benefit. So what do they say the new licensees, what do they tell them? They say, oh, you're on commission, which means, that there's no limit. Sky's the limit. Well, yeah, there's no floor either.
There's no floor. That's right. That's right. Yep.
Skate says, especially for a buyer's agent, seems like a percentage of the sale price is against the buyer's interest of paying a lower price. This is where, this is where where a great agent, that's where the difference is. And, if you have an agent that is truly advocating for you, that won't be an issue.
That's not,
no.
Can I share? I'm sorry.
Last
summer.
No more stories. You're at your limit. Sorry.
But no,
you're in timeout.
No, listen. Listen, to answer that, not to be like, oh, I'm so great, but I do that all the time. If I could get my clients a deal, gosh darn it, I'm going to get them a deal. I'm going to,
lights you
go in and fight for that number for them.
And I think that's the needle in the haystack that I'm always looking for. That's it's not the norm. It's the exception. You're different. I hear all this stuff. We talk, constantly. Constantly we're talking. And so a lot, that is a common thread that a great agent, that's Jackie, this is why I bang the drum. Interview more than one agent. Interview more than one agent. You got to understand exactly what kind of agent you're aligning yourself with, so you make sure that you can get one that is going to advocate for you.
But just can I answer that? So last summer, just really quick.
Yeah.
When my clients were looking for a house for a while, and this house they were eyeing, it was grossly overpriced, and I had a number in my head, and I'm like, I'm telling you, this other house I know is sold for this price. This one's going to come about $50,000 under. And I went to the listing agent. I said, look, it's been on the market it was like 5 months. It was on the market. And got the price. I got my price.
Let's go.
I argued it to like the cows come home. She's like, well, they had it here. I go, I know. But if you look at the one around the corner, I know this is under contract at this price. Your house is not as updated, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, all right, let me get back to you. She calls me back. She goes, all right, we'll take it. My client was like, you got it? I'm like,
well,
yes,
so
I got it. Like,
here's the thing.
Right, I got it.
Here's the thing is,
why overpay?
This is where, okay, a good buyer's agent, when they flex like that, when you're dealing with an 80% listing agent, let's go. Because the 80% listing agent is not going to go toe to toe with you more times than not, because they're too lazy. Or they don't know how. And they're just going to railroad right over you and just be like, okay, like I'll record a video. I'll record a video when I make an offer, and I'll ask I'll ask the listing agent, please just forward this video, this email to the seller. And so that they can, because I know the listing agent is not going to explain to them all the things. Yeah. And that has won my clients the offer more times than I can count, because the listing agent doesn't interfere. They just pass information. they don't know how to negotiate half the time. They just pass the information so you can really like take charge of the situation. So
Yep.
that's awesome.
I love this
Miss H has
stuff.
another question
Anyway,
here.
go ahead. Sorry.
So if you are under one of the major realtor names like Remax, et cetera, you're independent, are they making money from your sales or buyer of homes? Is it a percentage of your sales and buy? Yep. So
Yep.
most companies, it's like, so Remax is all franchised. So the broker who owns my franchise, I pay him a percentage and I pay Remax percentage,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the way it works in every single Remax office in the
Yep.
country. There are some companies, there are like Coal Bankers, not
Yeah.
franchised, but you still pay, instead of
Yep.
paying the franchise owner and the company, you're just paying the company, but it's the same amount of
Pay the
money,
company. Yep.
every single transaction. Every single
Yep.
transaction, they get a percentage, period. So, and it's just, and here's the thing, on a franchise, the broker owner who owns the firm, the only money they're making is the percentage that I'm giving them,
Mhm.
which is why this whole industry is broken, because it's all a numbers game. The
I know.
whole real estate industry is broken.
Yep.
But great question. MHOA says, do real estate agents have to buy workers' comp insurance? We don't have to buy anything. Massachusetts requires everybody, every resident, to have health insurance. But I typically, as a self-employed individual, and I personally have a corporation set up, and my financial advisor, I have never bought workers' comp because it would be for me. I'd be like self-insuring, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. So,
Yep.
but everything from retirement to 401k, health insurance, dental insurance, all the things that a typical company would offer you, all those benefits, it's out of the real estate agent's pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Period. So, it's a little ouchy sometimes, Jackie.
Mm-hmm. I know it is.
I was paying. I remember when at one point in time early on, I was paying in my career. I was paying like $1,500 a month
Ouch.
for health insurance. And it was just me and my husband at the time.
Oh,
It was
wow.
crazy. It was crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's, and this is why it's the over, and this is why the percentages won't change, Jackie, because it's
No.
just the costs are going up. Yeah, the prices are going up and the commissions are going up, but guess what? So aren't the costs of
Right.
doing business across the board. It's the same way you go to
Right.
mechanic, and my guy that I bring my kids' cars to, it's like the price goes up. Why? Because it costs him more money. Diane says, I just want a 1%, not one going to realtor, then the company they're working for, a total of 6% plus whatever other percentage they come up with in their paperwork. I'm not quite sure I understand that question. I'm not quite. Maybe you can
I think
elaborate.
she just wants to pay 1%, a total
Maybe.
6% plus whatever other percentage
So
you come up with for
here's the thing:
paperwork.
is
Yeah.
if at the end of the day that's what you're looking for and that's all you can afford, then what
Yeah.
you're looking for is a discount agent, and they're out
That's
there.
right.
They're out
Mm-hmm.
there. It basically means that they do less work, but they charge less money, and
Right.
that's okay if that's something that you're okay with. Um, Polly Fox says my buyer's agent drove all over the state of Indiana to find our little 139,000 farmhouse.
Oh,
I appreciate them doing that for my family. You know what? Sounds like you had a great buyer's agent there.
yeah, that's a 20,
It's awesome.
probably 10%er. That's a
10%.
10%er right there.
Angie says if I have to make concessions, I would rather reduce the sales price instead of money at closing. What percentage of buyers prefer that? Seems like they'd rather have the cash. You know what? I don't have a percentage of numbers. I don't have data on that. It really is going to come down to the individual buyer. It's going to come down to the individual buyer, right, Jackie? It's like, some people want a lower mortgage. Some people want the cash. We can't generalize and say that they'd all want cash
No.
because everyone's financial situation is different. So I think what you do is You go into it with an open mind. And here's the thing, here's the thing, Jackie, and I come across this a lot. You cannot anticipate every single offer you get. You cannot put a plan that's so rigid together when you put your house on the market. Say, if this happens, I'm going to do this. If this happens, I'm going to do that. That is setting yourself up to massive stress. Why? Because truly every transaction has nuances to it. Every transaction has nuances. You have two offers on paper, they're identical. You dig a little deeper. This buyer's been at their job 2 years. This buyer's been at their job 20 years. This buyer's actually pre-approved for more. This buyer's pre-approved for the exact amount. This buyer that's been on pre-approved for more can weather the storm if the interest rates go up. There's so many nuances, and that's why I say at the end of the day, you got to make a decision on your net. Whether the concessions, it's like, it just doesn't seem right. You've got to get your mind past that. This is a business transaction.
That's right.
It's a business transaction.
So,
hard to do by yourself. Hard to do by yourself.
But I just want to add to that though, because I had this exact situation happen to me a few years ago where I was representing the buyer and there was all these issues with the house and we kept going back and, we needed credit for this, credit for that. The seller had it and he said, I'll reduce the price by whatever it was, $65,000. And instead of giving a credit. And the reason he did that is because number one, he didn't have to pay as much commission. That's because I think he was sticking it to his agent, to be honest with you. I think he was pissed off at her, whatever. But it also saved him in taxes too. So, here in Jersey, we pay ridiculous transfer taxes.
Yeah, you do.
So it's sickening. So Angie, what I would recommend, you can put that out there as part of your negotiation. Like if something comes up and somebody's asking for a concession, just say, would you be willing to, let's just renegotiate the price and, sell it at this price. Even when we sold our investment property, we gave concession for closing costs to the buyer. And of course, Stephen my husband, he didn't understand all this, like how that whole thing. He's like, you handle it, you deal with it. And then he came back to me, he goes, why can't we just reduce the price? He goes, we pay less in taxes. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, we could have done that, but you're like, just run with it. I didn't think to ask the question. We were just like, this is what he needs. They need 10,000 in closing costs, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it might be, just consider, put it's part of the negotiation. That's what I'm saying. Just, you can put that out there and ask if they'll just take the reduced price and not the concession. That's my story, and I'll shut up right now. Okay.
That was a good story. Let's see. Miss H says, years ago, there was a realtor that said, if we can't sell your home, we will buy it from you. We've had that up here. Do you remember that realtor? I don't recall it right now. There was a lot of companies that did that.
A lot of them did that.
And a lot of them went belly up because it was a gimmick that bit them in the butt. Yeah. It bit them in the butt. And here's the thing. The ones that I see as of late, Jackie, if you're out there interviewing agents and you're trying to figure out your game plan, it's the same thing about these, buying homes for cash, the dirt, the ugly home buyers that we have here. It's called, we buy ugly homes, and it's basically, they're like, we'll buy it sight unseen. They are not paying market value, guys.
No,
they're paying pennies on the dollar. So if you agree to a in the contract that says, if we can't sell it, we're going to buy it. I would bet my house on the fact that their list price is significantly lower. Why? Because they have to ensure that they don't have to dig in their pocket. They're going to go, this is the market value. They're going to go down here. Because that'll give them the insurance that they won't get stuck buying your house.
Right.
So I just think it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick, just like all those other things. Skate says cash back at closing is helpful for buyers without a lot of cash. That lets them borrow a little bit more if the house appraises to the sale price. Yep. Okay. I totally understand. MH says, I don't know which of the two of you to ask for a referral. Both. It happens all the
All the
time.
time.
And
All
and
the
I
time.
and you know what, Jackie? How many times have I said to you, "Hey, did such and such get a referral?" And then we end up referring. I'm like, that's my referral partner. Ah, or whatever. Like, I mean, I can't count how many times this
All
happened, Jackie.
the
It is what
time.
it
I
is,
know.
you know.
You know,
And
it's
but
fine. Look,
you
it's
got to
okay.
interview 3 people. What better way to get 2 referrals as opposed to just open up the,
Absolutely.
you know, the
Yep.
I was gonna say phone book. Oh my God, Jackie.
The phone
Oh
book.
my
What?
God.
Oh my
Do they still
gosh.
have phone books? I don't even know.
No, we don't have
Um,
phone books. You're dating yourself. Stop it.
Rolodex. That was what I had when I back in the day. I'm gonna
Back
look at
in
my
the day.
Rolodex. Um, let's say, do you have a have any recommended agents I can use after my contract is up with my agent? I'm in Germantown, Maryland. Yes, just fill out the form. There's in my description. There's a referral request. Get the ball rolling that way, and I will get back to you and get the ball rolling,
Sure.
and then find out exactly what your needs are and all the things. Happy to help. 110%. Norton says, I wish I could ship my house to Jersey. 9 months since going on the market with Compass. Ouch. Switched switched in January to a new referral agent. Price now down $220,000 from last July. Still need to sell. Already moved. That is
Oh.
tough because once you put it on the market, if it was overpriced to begin with, now
Mhm.
you're just chasing the market. My
Yeah.
Jackie, my strong recommendation is that situation is take a step back, look at comps from the last 30 days only,
Yes. Yep.
and then take that number and go a little under.
Yep.
Because what's probably happened was, I would guarantee what's happening is the market's here and you're here. And as the market goes down and you chase it, and you go down and
Yep.
you chase it, you go down and you chase it. And all you're doing is getting to a point, you're chasing the market where the market, instead of trying to beat the market. And, when you look at a number like 220, you lost $220,000, you didn't lose anything. I would almost guarantee you were overpriced to begin with.
You're
That
overpriced.
number was
Exactly.
never accurate. It was
Yep.
never accurate. It was never, it was a false number. To begin with, you made plans on that number. You were hopeful for that number, expectations. Now you feel like you lost. The reality is you didn't lose what you didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough situation, but that's my
I know.
recommendation would be to
Listen,
take a step back.
I feel your pain. I feel your pain. I'm in the same boat with my property right now. I get
Yeah,
it.
and it's hard, right, Jackie? When you have a property like yours, like, or any property that's a little, maybe a little unique or has a smaller buyer market,
Yep.
it is makes it even that much harder to figure out
It's hard.
where that market value sits to,
I
and
know.
it's not an exact science, guys.
Nope. No,
Mm.
no, no.
You're gonna
Oh,
like you're gonna like this next question.
I know what you're gonna pull up.
Mm-hmm.
So when are we when we when do we
I
revive it?
I
Come
would
on, Jen.
love we didn't we just talk about that recently?
We did. We did. We gotta bring that back.
I
That
You know
was fun.
what? To be honest, SMVB, it is not by choice.
I know.
My workload, Jackie, your workload
Yeah, I
has
know.
been
We're
bonkers this past year.
yeah, we're
Bonkers.
insanely busy, but we do talk about it. We do
Totally. Just
talk.
like a viewer, a couple of you guys asked me about doing a DIY kind of vlog style channel with all my update adventures and stuff, and
You so need to do that.
and it's on the radar.
You should
I
do
don't know
it.
when, but
You
and
should do it.
it's definitely not going to be one
You'd
of
be
these
so good
fancy.
at it.
Well, it's not going to be one of these fancy how to, because honestly, it's probably going to be more of a, hey, this is what not to do channel. As I like
Yeah,
that plumbing.
don't put your don't be holding your
Don't
shoulders up while you're changing copper pipes and then get shoulder impingement syndrome or whatever the hell you got.
Yeah, the reason I had that is because when I did it, I didn't line up some of the fittings before I pressed them, so I had to rip it all out and do it over again. How
Oh,
not to do
Jen.
it?
What are we
But
gonna
it
what are
was
we
an
gonna do with
experience.
you? What are
And
we
then
going to do
Mary
with
Beth,
you?
Mary Beth says, "Yearly happy 100th show. So great to
Oh, Mary
see
Beth.
my two favorites together. Oh,
Thank you, Mary Beth. It's good to
thank
see
you,
you.
thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank you. All
you.
right. Um, So I got I got my last trivia.
Oh, yes.
One more $25 Amazon gift card. My last trivia. Those that are weekly regulars. I hope you know this one. Otherwise, you're sleeping at the wheel.
Come on.
What do I say at the end of every live stream?
Oh, come on.
Come on, guys.
Come on.
All right. Is it A, look both ways before cross the street? B, a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. I've said that. C, there's a butt for every seat. I say that a lot. And then D,
Ew.
be curious, not judgmental. Be curious, not judgmental. What do I say at the end of every live stream? Come on, guys.
Come on.
I mean, you know what? We had to. Where's my? Here we go. I'm missing my opportunity here.
All right, where are the answers? Come on,
Come on
people.
now. Oh, hold on. Think we got one. Miss H, yes.
Miss H. Woo! All right, Miss H.
Well, I lost her. There we go. Yes.
Okay.
Be curious,
All
not
right.
judgmental. I every single week, Jackie, I say that,
Yep.
and it's, because it's hard right now. It's so hard to not judge and to be angry as society as a whole. But you know what? You never know what you're going to learn. Ask questions before getting angry or argumentative, especially with family. Ask questions. Be curious before being judgmental. Miss H, congratulations. I'm super happy for you.
Go buy yourself something good with that.
And you know what? It looks like look at all the D's. Everybody got it right. Everybody knows. I wish
loyal viewers.
And I wish I could just give. I could give you all prizes. Oh my goodness! Yeah. But you know what? Jackie, I appreciate you being here. And
oh my God, I so appreciate being here. It's been too darn long. We got to do this again.
I agree. I totally agree.
You on mine. Maybe you come on mine next time.
I know it's a busy life. It's a busy life and all the things and all that stuff. But you know what? You got to make time for the things that are important and all the stuff.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
Here's to 100 more. And if you guys want to drop in the comments some requests for future content, if you guys have things that you want me to get into, something you saw in a news article. I think somebody posted earlier in the stream, Jackie, about the Zillow lawsuits and all that kind of stuff. And it's always unfolding.
There's always a lot of content about that.
There really is. But if there's certain things in real estate you don't understand, that you want my 2 cents on, that you want me to go a little deeper in with the data and all the things, drop it in the comments, and I'm gonna collect them all and maybe yours will be featured. We'll see what happens. But I appreciate y'all coming. I appreciate those that come every week, every Tuesday night. Appreciate y'all, and I can't looking forward to the next 100. But until then, Jackie, Jersey Jackie,
Jen,
have a good night. And hey, before you judge, be curious.
That's right.
Be curious, ask questions, because you know what? You might learn something.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying. Got to be open to it.
Darn right.
Guys, have a great week. Thank you all. Love you all. I'll see you guys next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Same bat channel. Same bat time. Same bat channel.
All right.
Jackie, you gonna dance it out?
Sure. Come on.
Ciao, everybody. Bye.
Bye.